is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to No Other Pod. I'm Jimmy, along with my good buddy Daniel Kooser. What is going on, my friend?
Knock, knock, baby. I'm here.
I was do I need to say who's there?
Nah, we're not joking. We don't got jokes here. Dude, it is a weird time. These Sunday games, we record on Mondays, so it's very fresh. It's very emotional, very different.
We might have to figure out what to do next week because the game is a 9 p.m. local kick on Monday night, and so we might have to I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll bump recording a day or so. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
we'll have to shift somewhere. Yeah,
it's going to be a weird time next week. So it's lots to talk about with this Leagues Cup game. I mean, we were talking before we started recording that just about everything that could happen in a soccer game happened in this one, and it was wild.
What a wild time. What I kept thinking, man, if I have no dog in this fight here,
oh my God,
this is an awesome game to watch. I'm very entertained.
Yeah,
100%.
That was almost the perfect neutral game to watch. If that were, whoever, just two other random teams that I didn't care about, but I was just a weirdo who wanted to watch Leagues Cup on a Tuesday night for two teams that I don't care about, I would have loved it. But as a sporting fan, my emotions were all over the place.
All over the place, dude. I got to tell you, my first instinct coming here, by the way, we went on a Cincinnati podcast. It was called
Cincy Soccer Talk.
Cincy Soccer Talk. We've gone on there before, correct?
We have.
Okay. Do they change hosts sometimes?
They have a rotating cast of hosts that all do different things.
Okay, because I feel so ridiculous sometimes where I'm like, I don't know you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Do we know him?
I don't know if we've been on. We might have been on with Jeff once before. Jeff was great. I had a great time talking with him. It was very fun. I think everything I said was wrong, but that's fine.
What are we here to be right? It was fun. We went on Cincy Soccer Talk. You should go give it a listen and hear our takes and jab, back and forth with this guy.
Yeah.
But
he called it, by the way. He said it was going to go to penalties and that Cincinnati was going to win.
Yeah, he was very correct because our best player likes to sky penalties over the net, and
oh my God,
just our best players just can't convert. And then Fontas steps up, and I'm like, "What are you doing? You're the next in line."
I have some thoughts about Fontas.
Yeah,
but
who creates the list, the lineup? Who's like, you know what? All right, who's up fourth? Our center back. Let's do it.
Well, there was a couple times where Fontas. He's got a tendency to sort of drift up toward the midfield and sometimes make the stray run every once in a while, which usually doesn't end well. There was a point where he had a little give and go with Johnny, and he ran up and then he just stayed up there like he was suddenly the new striker.
That's how it goes, though, dude. Those center backs, if you do that give and go, you're now stuck up there for a minute. You have to be. You got to help with the attack because you helped it get there. But you're right. He did that a few times. It was like, God damn.
Yeah, it was wild. We're going to talk about that game quite a bit, but I guess I want to mention before we even get to that game, do you even recall that the MLS All-Star game happened since last time we recorded?
I mean, I caught bits and pieces of the skills competition, which I think is the coolest part of the All-Star game.
100%.
I went to it in Chicago. Went to the skills competition. That was kind of neat.
Yeah.
But as far as the game itself, didn't really care. Seems like Arsenal, took off with it.
Yeah, it was not much of a game. Arsenal, they were very good last year, obviously, in the Premier League, and they brought a number of their key players. And it started in the 5th minute when Gabriel Jesus, you may have heard of him, chipped Berkey in a pretty amazing goal, and it just got worse from there. And so Arsenal slammed the All-Stars 5-0.
The All-Star game is a very interesting thing because you have two storylines here. You have a team of All-Stars voted on by fans, and the coach gets to pick a few as well, I guess.
Like Tyler Miller, a terrible goalkeeper.
But they are just a ragtag group of people thrown together who practice for a few days and then, hey, go play a game, try not to get hurt, that kind of thing. Right. Arsenal is like, okay, this is our first, second preseason match.
Right.
We've played together literally 2 or 3 months ago.
Yes.
So we know each
in
other
a title race in the best league in the world.
in a title race. So on paper, the European team coming in should essentially always beat the All-Stars
It should.
because our chemistry is just not there ever.
Right. Well, it's one of those games where, like, I don't know how the contract works out with the European team that comes, because, like, when Real Madrid came in 2017, when we saw them in Chicago, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't play. Like, I don't think he traveled with the team for their preseason. So, like,
No.
he's the big draw for Real Madrid at the time, and they
He
still
also had a pending lawsuit going on with
yeah.
rape allegations in Vegas or something like that.
There was that.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, they still had incredible players, Marcelo and Toni Kroos and all that stuff. But, you know,
it was fun.
They don't always bring all of their players. But, I mean, Arsenal had a pretty close to a full squad, and they did not let up. They hit the ground running in the 5th minute, did not look back. And you're right. There's kind of two ways the story can go after this. It's either, well, of course, we're not going to beat Arsenal, even as an all-star team. We don't play together very much, and it's an all-star game. Who really cares? Or like what happens if you happen to beat a team, like let's say, I don't remember, did they beat Real Madrid 1-0? Or they lost 1-0?
Penalties and lost.
But let's say you either draw or you go to penalties, or you somehow find a way to beat the European powerhouse that's coming. Then suddenly it's like, what does this mean for MLS? We are, you know, becoming one of the better. And it's so funny. And it's such a results-based news cycle, because year to year, we either are like, this is great, we beat one of the best teams in the world, or this doesn't matter because this is just an exhibition all-star game and people don't actually care.
Sure. And here's the deal. I'm agnostic on this situation. I kind of want it to be East versus West, like have two lineups of the best of the best, MLS versus MLS. But also, a lot of folks don't get that opportunity to see a European club come to town. I know that when we saw Bayern Munich, when they came to Children's Mercy Park, that was something we might never do again.
And they played AC Milan.
Yeah. That might never happen again.
Yep.
We might never get that opportunity unless we seek that out, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. But for the competition of the game, an East versus West thing would be pretty badass.
I even liked it when it was MLS All-Stars versus Liga MX All-Stars, because like there's kind of that built-in rivalry between the leagues that's now translating over into Leagues Cup. There's the sort of like shadow long-term plan that's whispered about, like, are these two leagues trying to eventually merge into one super league? So it kind of gets you a little bit more familiar with some of the players, even though technically Liga MX rates better in the United States than MLS does.
Right.
That was kind of fun. But I agree. I also love the East versus West style format, because let's be honest, if you're watching the MLS All-Star game on a Wednesday night, you're probably an MLS sicko. And so I think it would be kind of fun to be like, let's get more MLS players that we actually enjoy watching, and watch the best of the league go against the best of the league. Let's watch Alan Pulido be able to represent the Western Conference, because he probably deserves it, even though he was injured for the first month and a half of the year.
I kind of wish there was some kind of rule where one player must be taken from each team if they did an East versus West thing.
Sure.
Like every team should have a player represented in the All-Star game. Now, is that always feasible? Not really. I mean, what do you do? You know what I mean? You get the best striker from a team, and then boom, they're wiped out, because you got to get someone from Sporting. So you get, like, you know, Remy Voltaire or some shit, right? I don't know.
I'd like to think that, like, you could find somebody who, if you did East versus West, you could fill out a 25-man roster or whatnot and just sneak somebody on there, you would think. But that would be more fun to me, quite honestly. And then we wouldn't have this whole, you know, Euro snob, which I don't give them much notice anyway, but whole like, oh, of course MLS is trash league because you lost 5-0 to Arsenal. It's like, okay, whatever. I would love East versus West, but they don't ask my opinion.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, we didn't create this. All right. We were meant to lose to Arsenal. Okay.
Yeah.
That was not we did not have a good hand there.
But you're right. The skills competition's fun. They brought back Goalie Wars, even though it wasn't with MLS keepers, or it was MLS Next Pro keepers, but that's always fun to watch because that hasn't been around for a while. Then they have the chip competition and trying to bounce it off the bar. There's all sorts of fun stuff that the players get into in the skills competition that I agree is way more fun than the actual game.
Yeah, I mean, Sporting KC 2 had a defender, Natty Clark, in the MLS Next All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool. They do a kids All-Star game to start off the week, and it's neat.
I wonder, do you think they could ever do like a celebrity all-star soccer game, even if it was like 2 15-minute halves or whatnot? Because like the NBA, they do like their celebrity game, and MLB does like the celebrity softball game. Like tighten the field up a little bit and just kind of do like a celebrity soccer game. I think that could be kind of fun.
Have you gotten a call for that?
I have not, no.
Okay, I think I got a voicemail. I'll listen to that.
Oh, you do? I think it would be fun, but again, they don't ask me. So
yeah, we're nothing.
It is what it is. Arsenal, they're probably going to be very good in the Premier League again next year, and we'll see. So, have you ever been to a Premier League game in England?
I've never been to England.
I didn't think so. Yeah, have you been out of the country? Remind me.
I mean, does Mexico count?
Yes, that's a different country.
It really doesn't, though, because I was a kid and we like drove there.
Well,
so I mean,
you
it's
can't
not
do that.
And my grandma like haggled for me to get like a No Fear jacket. You know that brand, No Fear?
Oh yeah.
It was like some Mexican poncho looking thing, No Fear, and I wore that shit to school.
Well, my brothers and I are thinking about trying to hop over across the pond this year and go see some games. So
this year?
Yeah, well, this upcoming season. We're trying to go before. I mean, Eddie and I are Everton fans, so we got to go before they demolish Goodison Park. So
okay,
it's the last season we're going to play there.
Before they get demolished and relegated or whatever.
Well, I mean, it might also be this year that happens. So
well, no, we're planning to. We'd like to go up there, and we're big Disney people too, man. So we'd like to throw in like Disney Paris or something.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at tickets for Manchester United versus Chelsea at Old Trafford.
Oh, okay.
I think we might try to make that one work. But
what's
let me
that?
tell you.
What's a regular ticket cost for that?
Well, I asked a friend of mine. I was like, we want to go to an Everton game. We want to go to a United game because we kind of want to see Old Trafford, and we want to go to a Tottenham game because my other brother's a Tottenham fan. What's the best way to do this? And he goes, Everton, you could probably buy tickets at the stadium the day of. You'll be fine. There's going to be people selling tickets. And he goes, but for United and for Spurs, you probably want to do something called hospitality. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, basically, you go through a ticket broker and you essentially buy a package, and it's much more expensive, but they get you a ticket, they get you a guaranteed seat, they get you access to like usually a lounge or something before and after the game and some food or whatnot. He was like, it's going to be almost impossible to get tickets to Old Trafford or Tottenham Hotspur Stadium any other way because it's against UK law to sell tickets on a third-party ticket site. Like there's no SeatGeek or Ticketmaster or StubHub like that. So it's much harder. So
I had no idea.
If we want to go see United at Old Trafford, I was talking with somebody right before this actually who does like one of these hospitality deals. Starts at $250 a person.
That's for one game?
For one game.
Okay. See, and you're trying to go to multiple games. If we travel, we're probably going to a single game. You know, that does not seem feasible.
It's expensive, but I don't know when I'm going to get back, so we'll see.
Wow. How fun.
But, yeah, so that'll be I don't know if it'll work, but we'll try. So
yeah,
I'll bring you a scarf from Old Trafford.
Oh, that'd be sick, dude. I have a Man U scarf somewhere. Yep, right up there.
But well, before we talk about this Leagues Cup game in more detail, I think we're going to go ahead and take a break, but then we'll come back and break down all the craziness that happened in the Leagues Cup. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
So how was Barbie?
Oh, man. Incredible.
Good movie?
I loved it.
Okay.
I'm all about it. I'd see it again.
Times. You'd see it again? Okay.
I enjoyed it that much.
I love a good movie that makes you want to see it a second time.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's a very self-aware movie, and it's not a kid's movie. I'll tell you that. I mean, the PG-13 rating probably should give that away a little bit, but
okay,
it's yeah. Our producer Nick's seen it. I can tell. So it's a great movie that I think honestly, even I don't have kids, but I'm not a woman. I didn't grow up as a woman, so I still thought it was incredible, and there's stuff to take from it. So It's
I plan to
thought
see it.
provoking.
Okay. Well,
So,
this week is it's an Oppenheimer week for me, so we're doing that first, and then probably hit Barbie next week or something.
yeah, you're not going to get Oppenheimer in the 70 millimeter, 15 perf, whatever, because you have to go to
What?
freaking Indianapolis or whatever to
You
see
gotta go to
it.
Dallas, bro.
Yeah.
Dallas is the closest one.
Is it Dallas? I was like, it's either Dallas or Indianapolis. I wasn't sure which one, but
I got a buddy who's a big old cinephile, used to work at the movie theaters, is really believes that if no one makes popcorn as good as he does, I'm like, all right, prove it. And he drove with a buddy down to Dallas today to see the 70 millimeter IMAX. And I'm like, dude, if you got the time off work and you love it that much,
Sure.
that's awesome.
People probably look at that the same way that we might look at traveling for a soccer game.
100%. I still look at my time at the Austin game last week. It was a blast, man. Hell of an atmosphere. And I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So Nick has also seen Oppenheimer. He said it was very, very good. So I've heard that. Don't want to spoil it, but I heard it's got a bombshell ending.
Oh my God. You should listen to both of the soundtracks because it is wildly different.
Oh, I bet.
You got Barbie with all these popular, awesome pop songs. And then you got Oppenheimer, which is scored by Ludwig Göransson. So you can just imagine.
Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yes. So you can imagine how dark and ominous it sounds.
Yeah.
We usually listen to classical music when we sleep. And Marissa goes, should we listen to the Oppenheimer soundtrack? I go, okay, it's orchestral,
you can dream
but
of
it's
nuclear
not
bombs.
It's not what you want to sleep to.
Right.
It sounds intense. I would be sweating.
Why am I having nightmare of nuclear war?
Right? I put on intense classical before, and I'm like, I can't sleep at all. Those freaking strings are going crazy.
Well, yeah, I will go see it. So
cool.
It's Nick approved, so we'll have to go see it.
Nick approved, man. Should we hop into this ridiculous Leagues Cup game and overall competition?
Yeah, so the competition, it's already off the rails in a lot of ways. We have a Mexican team evoking Nazi leaders to make their point about offside calls on Twitter.
That's the thing.
We have other teams that are stuck in the airport in Vancouver because
that's also a thing.
Logistical problems with the airline that the Leagues Cup messed up on, so they can't get to LA.
They don't get to train. They just got to go to LA and get off the plane and play a game.
It's the most this tournament is, again, if you don't really care and you just it's peak CONCACAF. And it's not run by club staff. So even trying to get into the press conference to hear from Peter Vermes and Gadi Kinda after the game, it's not run by SKC or FC Cincinnati staff members. It's run by Leagues Cup staff members. And if they just would let the normal club staff run it, who do it literally every week, it would probably run a lot smoother. But here we are. So
insane.
What we had said, or at least what I had said when we talked to Jeff on Cincy Soccer Talk, was if FC Cincinnati started close to a full strength lineup, I didn't think Sporting had much of a chance because FC Cincinnati is the best team in the league this year. And if I recall, Jeff seemed to think that they probably were going to play a lot of the second team players. He didn't think they were going to start a lot of first teamers because they didn't want them to get hurt.
Now, I kind of wondered it too because I saw the SKC2 lineup prior to this, and it was not. There were no SKC loanees starting, and I was like, oh, so we're probably gonna play some loanees. We might see some Chris Rindov or some Ozzy Cisneros or something,
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. We rolled out as close to starting 11 as as good as it could be.
Yeah, I don't think Kyrie Shelton was probably meant to start initially. It sounded like Daniel Shallowy was sort of like a game time scratch because he had a minor injury, and Nemanja Radoja also did not travel to Cincinnati due to an injury. So Kyrie stepped in, and he ended up in the starting lineup, and he played fine. I mean, his cross led to the very first goal for Sporting Kansas City.
That was a hell of a header.
It was a hell of a header. In the 9th minute, I can't decide if it was a good cross or if Kyrie just got kind of lucky because he did have Polito running, and Polito had sort of split the center backs. And if Hagelin doesn't head it the way he does, that ball, I think, is falling right to Polito open at the far post. So I think it was a decent ball in, and Nick Hagelin, the FC Cincinnati defender, Superman dove this and headed this thing with power and pace right past Alec Can to give Sporting the 1-0 lead in the 8th minute.
Why did you mention Shallowy? What'd you say he was?
He was sort of like a game time. He traveled with the team, but then they ultimately decided that he had a slight injury, so he didn't play.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wasn't even on the subs list, not even on the roster.
Yeah.
Weird, right? Because I mean, we see Eric Tommy sub in later.
Mm-hmm.
But it's God, dude, Kyrie just has bad luck. I mean, let's just fast forward to where he could have won the game at the very end.
Oh my God,
could have been a hero. Could have shut everybody up that hates him and said, "I won this game."
It was 3-2. It was like the 80 some odd minute, and we'll talk about all the other goals and stuff that happened, but hell of a play by Logan and Denby, who busts his ass to get down to the end line, somehow saves the ball and puts it back perfectly to a wide open Kyrie with nobody within 20 yards of him. And the only thing I can think is he either thought, oh, surely somebody's about to tackle me from behind, or I can't be this wide open. I don't know what to do when I'm this wide open. And he hit the ball at the one spot that he couldn't hit it to, which was directly at Alec Can. Because if he goes a foot to the left, a foot to the right, game over, Sporting gets 3 points.
I kind of disagree with you. I don't know if Alec Can put himself in a great position. Like you got to give it to the keeper because he had a pretty good game, all things considered.
He did,
but he was just in the perfect position and made himself big. And Kyrie could have put it one way or the other, but Alec might have got it as well.
But
it's
Kyrie,
tough.
I mean, Alec, it was a good positioning, but he was right in the middle of the net. If Kyrie puts it to the left or the right, I mean,
could have. Oh man, and then dude, I just kind of knew. I thought he was going to miss his penalty too. I really did, but no, he buried it. Yeah.
But yeah, Sporting goes up 1-0, and then in the 12th minute, just 3 minutes later, Gadi Kinda steps over and takes a free kick from a dangerous spot, and Danny Rosero, for the second time in not terribly long, gets basically a free header and heads this thing with power past Can, and it's 2-0 Sporting KC in the 12th minute. And it's going about as well as you can possibly hope for Sporting Kansas City.
Yes, I'm flying high right now, but also I'm like, okay, there's 79 minutes left in this game against the top team in the league, so we need to not let up here. We need to not do anything stupid. We need to keep the momentum going.
Yes.
Dude, this game was on crack. 6 goals, 11 yellow cards. I was like, can we get one of their players to get a second yellow, please? Because it was you get a yellow, but no 2 yellows. No, you coward.
The ref
was got to headbutt people to get that.
Liga MX, right? It was a Mexican ref, I believe, because I wasn't familiar with him.
I don't know. So, what do you bet? Was that a bad thing?
No, I had some questions about the way that some of the calls were made, and I'm not familiar with any of these referees. I think they're from Mexico. Well, so
it does sound very Hispanic. So
I just don't think we can blame Pro, because I don't think Pro is necessarily the referee association for Liga MX. So
no, you got to blame referees. I mean, dude, come on. We blame white people for a lot of stuff, and we're part of that, bro. We are part of that problem. We got to take it.
So the ref, I mean, let me be clear. I don't think the ref was the reason Sporting Kansas City lost this game, which might be a slight disagreement with Peter Vermees. But there were some calls where I was.
Why would you think that?
I did want to point out, though, before the game, when the lineup came out, I sent it to you, and I just said, we might be screwed. And then immediately after Danny Rosero scored his header and we went up 2-0, I just replied, and I was like, what do I know?
Yeah.
Because at that point, I was like, well, everything I thought was wrong.
You don't know a damn thing. We're off to the races, bro. Like, life is good right now.
Yeah. And it's feeling like, okay, this is great. Everything's going well. And then in the 29th minute, Alan Pulido gets into a little tussle. Was it with Mosquera, I think? And it's a typical little foul thing, and not anything you don't see basically every game. And Mosquera kind of like pushes Alan off because Alan kind of ended up on top of him. And Alan, at first, I thought just lost his damn mind and saw red and literally just intentionally headbutted him.
Yeah.
I don't think that's actually what happened. I think Alan got up real spicy and wanted to get in his face. and Mascara was also sort of getting up at the same time. And Allen did headbutt him. I don't think it was intentional, but it doesn't really matter if it's intentional. It's a straight red card.
Dude, if it was intentional, he did a good job of backtracking and feeling bad and like apologizing so bad. I mean, I'm like, dude, do you have some secret anger problems we don't know about?
I mean, it was at that moment when Polito goes out. There's about 30 minutes left in the game. Okay, Sporting's up 2-0, but can they hold a 2-goal lead down a man against the Supporter Shield leaders in their own home stadium, where it's a very difficult place to play? You could tell that Polito, he just kind of immediately, he had that look, and I don't know if he also realized, now I'm not going to get to play against Chivas because I'm going to be suspended for the next game. And let me tell you, the tinfoil hats were out in full force on Twitter, just thinking that maybe Polito intentionally did it to not play against Chivas.
That's insane. I mean, it's a funny thing to say, right? It's a funny thing to talk about and just, banter and gossip and speculate, if you will.
Yeah.
But dude, we're the kings of over speculation. And, that would be interesting. It's like, yeah, I don't want to play against these guys, but
especially
it's a
if
late
I'm about
game,
to go
dude.
to them this offseason.
Oh boy, he said it. All right. Dude, they scored. They got one back immediately after this red card.
Immediately. Yeah.
Pretty much immediately. I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. And it's like, so they're gonna start coming hard, but not yet. We're gonna take a weather break.
This is when I knew Sporting were in trouble. It was off of a set piece. And technically it's a Pulse Camp own goal because the header from the Cincinnati player bounced off the post and then back out toward Pulse Camp. And then it just unlucky from Pulse Camp. He was diving to try to save it and it bounces off his left hand. He did.
He played very well at times, dude, like saving point blank stuff. Like, it was good.
This is why I've been saying, and you've been saying, and a lot of people have been saying, it'd be nice to see Pulse Camp in some of these games where McIntosh has been getting his run, because McIntosh is not a bad keeper.
Yeah.
He saves the balls that he probably should save, but he doesn't go out of his way to make the saves that you're like, damn, that was a tough save, and that probably saved a goal. There were a couple of saves Pulse Camp made in this that I'm like, I don't think Kendall makes that save.
I don't think so either. The dude was very strong, was very smart, but he still let in 3 goals. I mean, 3 goals still happened on his watch.
Well, okay, yeah. One of them was sort of this fluke own goal.
Sure.
And then one of them was a penalty kick. And it's amazing because it's almost exactly the same as Sporting's offense, because you say one of them's kind of a fluke own goal and one of them is a penalty kick. So I also want to pump the brakes a little bit when Peter was like, we went in there and the offense was great and it was clicking. We scored 3 goals. You did score 3 goals, but it's not like there were 3 goals in the run of play. You had a set piece goal, an own goal, and a penalty kick goal.
Yeah, very true.
So
didn't put anything together in the run of play at all.
No. But there's this own goal, and this is where I was like, okay, I think we're in trouble.
Wait, and they had an own goal, a set piece goal, and a penalty.
Was there other goal on this? The Brandon Vasquez goal wasn't.
Oh no, that was a run of play thing. Yeah.
But they get one back 3 minutes after Polito gets sent off with a red card, and at that point, I was like, okay, we're in trouble. And
Big
then
trouble.
The lightning delay happens, and we're like, great, okay. If this game already didn't have just about everything weird so far, let's throw in a lightning delay.
And why don't they do any kind of lightning delay talking to us? Why do they just they just said this game is in weather delay?
It was
and I'm
weird.
like, dude, that's a perfect time to get some highlights, throw in some ads.
Yeah.
I mean, no, we just had that screen the whole time. I think I took a little nap.
I watched an episode of the Clone Wars on Disney Plus.
You're still watching that?
I'm going through, man. I got to rewatch the whole series.
You've been trying to catch up on that and since since it launched, bro.
Yeah, but I finally went back. I realized about 3 weeks ago that I was like, damn, if I need to get through all of the Clone Wars and all of Rebels before I watch Ahsoka, I need to get my ass in gear and get on it. So now I'm halfway through season 6 of the Clone Wars that I've gone through.
Wow.
And being sick kind of helped with this because I just was able to stay home and binge Clone Wars for like 3 straight days. But I'm almost done with Clone Wars, and I'm going to do Rebels.
I'll stick in that animation conversation. I'm kind of excited to watch the new Futurama on Hulu.
There you go. So But yeah, you're right. Weather delay happens. Would have been the perfect time. I mean, it's not like there wasn't a big Leagues Cup game that happened with Lionel Messi. So you could have talked about that, shown highlights, done anything. But
I don't know. I don't know who that is. What
who?
happened?
I haven't heard. I don't know. Some guy. So weather delay, and then it goes to halftime. So halftime, it's 2-1, and I'm not feeling great. I imagine you're not feeling great.
No, because it's that 2-0 score line, and it's like, dude, whoever gets that next goal will probably win the game. And so I was thinking like, wow, Cincinnati's going to win. Now, they did, but they didn't. Also, we tied these people. We got a point out of this game.
Yeah. The Leagues Cup format is weird. So
it's like MLS Next Pro, same deal.
So we're going to talk about the second half. We're going to break down the rest of the craziness that happened in this game because it got even more wild if it wasn't wild enough already. But before then, we're going to take one more break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
You know, people probably thought they'd get through an episode without hearing Messi's name, but
no, it's impossible.
Alas, this is American Soccer Podcast, and that's all the chatter right now, bro.
Messi League Soccer, as it's known now. I think that's part of the contract.
Everyone talking about how, you know, LeBron James is freaking there. Serena Williams was there.
Kim Kardashian.
Dude, those are like the GOATs of their respective sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kim Kardashian, the GOAT of reality TV, I guess. But it's absolutely insane. And one of the coolest things I heard about was after Messi scored that amazing free kick, which if you've ever watched him, you probably knew he was going to make that.
Yeah.
He got to go celebrate with his family who was pitch side, which they've never been pitch side before because that's not how it is in Europe.
No.
They'd be in a box. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they were pitch side, dude. He could go over hugs and kisses. And it's like, how neat is that for this man? And we get him for another 2 years. Hearing Johnny talk about it on presser last week.
Yeah.
He was like, you know, he's probably my favorite player. And I hope he doesn't go on international duty when we're there. And it's a real possibility. He might not play that game.
It is. And hopefully he comes to Children's Mercy Park next year because I think it would be the year that Miami would be due to come play in Kansas City. So
not necessarily. That would have been last year, but we didn't play them at all.
That's true. So hopefully, well, again, that means we're even more due to host Miami.
Yeah.
So hopefully he does come to Kansas City next year and we'll be able to see him play in Children's Mercy Park.
Resale prices will go through the roof. They're already going through the roof right now for the Chivas game on Monday. People got their tickets listed in my section for like $180 a seat.
Why?
Seeing who's stupid enough to pay for it.
Because there's no Alan Polito.
Dude, those are the people. You just set a price. Maybe someone will pay for it. I did that one time with Michael Bublé tickets. They sold instantly. Bro. And I was like, probably should have priced them higher.
Well, you live and learn.
I know.
Let's talk about this second half here. So second half comes and we're just kind of thinking, okay, can Sporting hold on for 45 minutes? And you feel like they're going to be tested. And it seemed pretty early on that Cincinnati were the better team, obviously, in the second half. They're up a man, and they were just pressing hard, and the ball was just staying in Sporting's half.
And it only took a defensive game for us for a bit.
It was, and it only took about 10 minutes, and then Jake Davis misplays a ball that he tries to bring down like he's Graham Zusi, and he's not Graham Zusi in that sense. And Luciano Acosta gets it, sends it across to Brandon Vasquez, one of the better strikers in the league, who's wide open, puts it away. Now it's 2-2 with 35 minutes to go, and we were like, yeah, this is bad.
If you're Jake Davis, why aren't you just blasting that ball out of there? It is in a danger zone, bro.
Yeah.
Don't try to get cute. You are down a man. You need to be blasting everything out of your box.
He's watched Graham Zusi one too many times at that right back because Zusi could do that. Zusi does that all the time where he sticks his little toe out and just barely touches it and it just drops dead perfectly in front of him.
But given the circumstances around the game and what kind of position you're in, I don't think Graham tries to do that.
Jake made a few mistakes this game. And let me just say,
he was due for one.
He was, and I haven't heard a lot of Jake Davis criticism from the online crowd even after this game. But
because there's no one to replace him with.
Well, if Kyrie
Kyrie
played
Shelton?
this exact same game that Jake Davis played. Literally, you just replaced them and did everything exactly the same. They'd be screaming that it's Kyrie's fault. Well, they're already screaming it's Kyrie's fault. We lost because of the miss. But I mean, it is interesting. But this was not one of Jake's better games.
It is interesting, man. People love to hate Kyrie. They really do.
So 56th minute, now it's 2-2. Now it's a question of we'll just hold on and get weird in penalty kicks and we'll see what happens. But
yeah,
it got weirder before then because in the 68th minute, I think it was an Eric Tommy shot on goal, I believe, and it was a pretty obvious handball in the box by FC Cincinnati. Gift to Sporting KC. Gadi Kinda steps up, buries the penalty kick. It's 3-2, and now we're back to, okay, hold on. And at this point, I will say, once Gadi Kinda buries the penalty kick and there's 20 minutes left in the game, I was fairly confident that at worst, this game is probably going to go to penalties because I don't think Sporting's going to give up 2 goals in the next 20 minutes.
No, I didn't think so either. We were playing very well. This game, I mean, if you look at it, man, you got a point on the road, that's great. If this was regular season right now, I'd feel like shit. But it's Leagues Cup. We played very well against a very stacked team.
Yes.
Those are quality players.
They are.
Yes. Acosta, some of the best in the world.
Mm-hmm. Their new designated player striker, Bupenza, he was playing. Like, this is a good team. And I was wrong. It was Tim Leibold who had the kick that drew the penalty. It was not Eric Tommy. But
okay. Well, we went toe-to-toe with these guys, the best team in the league.
At their own place.
Tell me why we can't go toe-to-toe with Chivas on Monday. We totally can. We did all of that, 75% of that, without Alan Pulido.
That is true.
That's not math. That's like 60%, but whatever. 66.
And Chivas is not okay. It's only 3 games into the Apertura. They're in first place. They're undefeated right now.
They got to play Thursday.
They do. They didn't do great in the previous season's Apertura. If you're familiar with Liga MX, they kind of have like 2 mini seasons, the Apertura and then the Clausura. They finished 9th out of 18 teams in last season's Apertura, but then they finished 3rd in the Clausura, which is the more recent season. So they're a good team. But you were thinking at this point, okay, I thought we had
this, bro. I thought we had it.
You said when we were on Cincy Soccer Talk last week, you're like, I don't know. Sporting might mess around and find a way to get 3 points in Cincinnati. And at this point, I thought Sporting was going to mess around and find a way to get 3 points in Cincinnati until 5 minutes of stoppage time comes on. It's literally, the clock says like 94 minutes and 52 seconds or whatnot. They get one final shot off. Danny Rosero, he's got his arms behind his back. His left elbow's just sticking out a little bit. And if he just stood still and didn't move, I don't think he gets a penalty called. But you see on the replay, he does a slight little chicken wing, slight little move, ever so slight lean. And I'm okay with the handball call.
That shit gets reviewed, dude. Like that's not just off a pair of referees' eyes. I mean, that people look at it. Yeah. And we saw it a million times, and it's like, wow, we really gave this up. And then I was thinking, let's watch Big John come up big now.
Oh my God.
Shit.
I was thinking, okay, this is your time.
Win the game, bro. Win it.
Yep. You're the heir apparent here.
Fuck.
Channel your inner Tim Melia. Ball don't lie. Lucho Acosta stepping up. Just make sure you go the right way. And this is it. And you send us to one of the bigger upsets in the Leagues Cup history. It's storied history. And it didn't happen.
So basically winning one game in this Leagues Cup group pretty much gets you advanced.
Yeah, that's what the announcers, which by the way, announcers were terrible.
You think so? I thought they were better than last game.
There was one announcer that absolutely hated Sporting Kansas City.
Really?
Like, I don't know who it was, but like even on Gotti's penalty kick, he was like, they need a VAR that and review it. Eric Tommy was 2 full steps inside the box.
Oh, yes.
And the other commentator was like, bro, they're only going to do that if he actually impacted the play. It literally had nothing to do with anything.
True.
Relax.
Yeah, they said that, and the guy was like, well, I kind of hate these guys, so.
Pulse camp goes the wrong way. Then it goes to penalties. Remy Voltaire skies his. Andrea Fontes as one of the worst penalty kicks I've ever seen in my life. And we don't even go the full 5 rounds. It's 4-2 and it's done.
Done deal. Too bad. Remy skying it like that. That's just.
I knew that's when it was lost.
You should never. I don't know. You should never sky a penalty. I mean, I don't understand it.
I mean, that's what makes when Buzio took his penalty kick that was incredible in the Gold Cup, and even when Kyrie put his penalty in the top left corner, that's what's so impressive when you can actually put it in the upper 90 is because if you get under that just a little bit, it's really easy to send it over the bar, and they both basically placed it perfectly. So
yeah, absolutely.
But you're right. 1 point. We get it because if you go to penalties, you get at least a point. And if you win the penalties, you get 2 points. So they didn't even get the full 3 points. They got 2 points. But
I kind of like that, by the way, dude. That's like saying there's 3 points up for grabs. We'll see how we distribute them by the time the game ends. Yeah. I don't mind doing that for every single game. Like they're doing it in MLS Next Pro. They're doing it. It's successful. And I think it's there as a little pilot program. I think they're seeing if it works because they might implement it in MLS.
It's interesting. Yeah. I'm not 100% opposed to it. I mean, I think penalties are so random that it's kind of like you play a full 90 minutes of soccer, both teams getting a point feels fair to me instead of just one being like random shit can happen. Okay, now you not arbitrarily, but almost arbitrarily get an extra point.
It's bonus points, bro. See who gets the bonus point.
Isn't that kind of what they do in hockey, though? They used to do games could end in ties, but I think now they do shootouts, and it's something similar where like if you win, you get more points, but if you even get it to a shootout, you still get a point or something like that.
It's also, I mean, it's also kind of cool. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of for it. I don't know. Are you guys for it? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. I'm not inherently opposed to it, but you are right. If we were able to hold on for another 10 seconds, we would have almost guaranteed ourselves passage through because if we would have won and then either Chivas would have won or Chivas drew with Cincinnati, then we would have been guaranteed through with only 3 points. So we could have just rested everybody or lost to Chivas next Monday, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a bummer. And now if we want to advance, we probably have to beat Chivas at home, and we're going to have to do it without Alan Pulido, which means, I don't know, is it Steven Afrifa time at striker?
Holy shit. I mean, yeah, I mean, of course it is. That's it. It sucks, man. I mean, everyone wanted to see that play out. They wanted to see Alan play his old club. I'm sure Alan wanted to play his own club. It's just sad now. And I kind of wonder if that has to do with people maybe selling their tickets as well. Because, I mean, that makes it less interesting to be there, maybe?
I mean, it kind of destroyed really the only storyline surrounding this game, which was this intrigue between Pulido. He's out of contract at the end of this year, and Chivas is his old club, and they want to re-sign him. Can he sign a pre-contract? Has he signed a pre-contract? We don't really know, but now they got to play each other out the window.
Out the window, man, because he went all headbutt Howard on us.
Well, and let's say Sporting loses. We'll play that out for a second, and this is their last game until what, August 26th? That means Alan Pulido would go a full month without playing a game.
August 26th is the next game?
Yeah, because they take like the whole month off for Leagues Cup.
Oh my God.
So if we lose, we're off for like 3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. That kind of sucks, dude. We need these games. Right. We need something to keep us. We might mess around and win on Monday. We might advance. I don't know.
It's kind of crucial, I would say.
It is. And if you're taking this competition seriously, which I hope we are, seems like we are, we wouldn't have rolled out that lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter says a lot of things. All right. Peter lies to us every chance he gets. I'm certain of it.
So here's the thing that's beneficial for us. Cincinnati and Chivas have to play each other on Thursday. So we have a week and a day off, and Chivas is going to be on 3-4 days rest.
Correct. And they got to travel too.
And they got to travel. All of the games are played in America. There's no games played in Mexico. So,
right. And we will have been home for 8 days.
Yes.
training at our own place in 100-some degree weather this week.
Yeah.
But that's a plot point, dude. That's us having an advantage there.
Yeah. So I guess we root for Cincinnati over Chivas because they're already ahead, or do we root for? Let's see. Let's play this out.
You root for red cards.
Yeah, that's true. We root for red cards for Chivas. I guess if they get a draw, then worst case, Chivas has 2, Cincy has 3. I guess we still want to root for a draw, but because all sorts of weird things can happen with goal differential or whatnot to get you through. But what we don't
we could draw Chivas and go through on goal differential, presumably.
Yeah, so it's all sorts of wild, but yes, ultimately root for red cards against Chivas, and hope that we're not going to have some of their best players on the field against us on Monday.
Standings wise, this is the hardest group in League's Cup.
Yeah,
I mean for us, because we are facing the number 1 team in the U.S. and the number 1 team in Mexico.
Chivas
it's like
is very
Jesus,
good.
How did we draw that freaking group? Like when were these groups made? Beginning of the season, right?
A while ago, yeah.
So, like, were they made last year or was it this year?
I don't remember when exactly they were. I mean, America and St. Louis are in the same group. That would be a tough one. There are a couple. Portland and Tigres could be kind of rough.
Yeah.
But I don't know. At least we're not in a group with Miami where we had to play Messi in his very first game or something like that, because that was wild.
Miami, dude, they're fun, right?
I mean, I watched.
Yeah.
I watched, so and it was surreal watching him get fouled right outside the box with 5 seconds left in stoppage time. Eerily similar to what happened against Sporting KC, except instead of a penalty, it was a free kick. And Messi steps over that ball, and everybody in the stadium knows exactly what's about to happen, but they still don't actually believe it's about to happen. And then he kicks this absolutely gorgeous, perfect free kick right into the top left corner. And there's angles where you see it curve way outside the bar and curve back in, and place went wild. And I mean, it's weird that Lionel Messi is playing in Major League Soccer right now.
It's the coolest thing. I'm also torn about it. I'm like, dude, I hate this. I hate hearing about him. Shut up. Everyone gets these great players, these marquee players, and then there's us, you know. But then I'm like, dude, if you're a fan of soccer in this country, you have to be excited for that, because that's just going to grow the game.
Well, and he and Busquets, I mean, essentially Miami's game plan was just give Busquets and Messi the ball once they checked in. They played about 30 minutes. They were trash before then. There was one play, I don't remember who it was, somebody named Noah something, I forget his name, on Miami. He had the ball.
See the one who vomited?
No. I want to say that was Robbie Robinson.
Okay.
But he had the ball just outside the box, and Lionel Messi is wide open just inside the box to his left. And this dude's like, no, Leo, I got this one. And he tries to shoot from outside the box and sends it like 15 yards over the bar. And the camera and Leo kind of looks at him, and the camera cuts to Tata Martino, the coach, and he's just standing there stone faced, and he's just pointing at Leo. He doesn't say anything. He just looks at the guy and he's just pointing like, you had freaking Lionel Messi wide open in the box, and you're like, nope, it's all me.
That's a player who maybe isn't excited that you got this guy in town, that you're like, you know what? Let me show you I can do a little something too. Well, you can't. It's like pass the ball to the great player over here.
Yeah. Also weird, never seen this happen before. When Leo checked into the game, the referee walked over and shook his hand. And I was like, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yes, 100%.
You can't do that. That's not even fair.
It was pretty funny.
That's fucked. I hate that.
Yeah. So anyway, but hey, Leagues Cup is wild, man. I'm just embracing the CONCACAF-iness of it and the chaos, and heck, I just want a fun game against Chivas. I hope we win. I hope we advance, because I want to watch Sporting Kansas City play more soccer. But I think it's important they play soccer over the next month, if they have any hope of making a run in the last 8 games. I think that's important for them to stay fit.
I agree. I hope Allen wasn't a one and done in Leagues Cup. You know, I'd like to see him play again.
Never again. I mean, that's true. He might not ever play a Leagues Cup game again if we lose and then he gets trained. Well, if he goes to Mexico, he probably will, but he won't play one for us.
True.
So, It is very frustrating, even though it's a Leagues Cup game. This is yet another game that Sporting Kansas City wasn't able to close out in the final seconds with a leading position. So I don't know. It'll be interesting no matter what happens in Leagues Cup to watch this team throughout the rest of the MLS season, see if they can figure something out. I don't think any of us have hope that they'd actually get to the playoffs and make a deep run, but you get to the playoffs and then anything can happen. So
Yep, absolutely.
we shall see. But yeah, I mean, outside of everything that's happening in MLS, I'm sure you guys will cover this quite a bit on currently. But Women's World Cup is happening. It's been very fun to watch the U.S. women again. They didn't play as well against Vietnam as I think many people thought they would. They missed some chances, but still got a 3-0 win. And yeah, I'm just glad that we have World Cup soccer to watch.
Join us on Thursday, you guys. We'll dive all into the World Cup stuff, KC Current stuff.
Big new signing for the KC Current.
Big new signing. We're going to break that down on Thursday. We're KC Brazilians now. I mean, it's a big deal.
I did see a tweet from somebody. I don't remember who it was, but they were like, "Are the KC Current it might have been, was it Christian who was like, are they the Inter Miami of NWSL?" Because there were questions about like, how are the Current signing all of these players within the roster and cap regulations of NWSL?
They had to send some money to North Carolina as well. So, yeah. I mean, there's that.
But hey, the Current are a fun team to watch. Big Challenge Cup win. So make sure you tune into Currently on Thursdays on the KCSN soccer feed and hear Dan and Chris break down everything NWSL, KC Current, and Women's World Cup. So,
yes.
You got anything else for our good listeners this week before we sign off?
No, that was it. If you're not watching Leagues Cup, you're probably watching World Cup at all times of the wee hour. I'm not waking up for these 2 a.m. games or anything, but it's been wild to put it on while I'm working out in the morning or something. So it's fun.
And there's been some crazy story. I think Jamaica just got their first ever World Cup point. Like there's some cool stuff happening in the Women's World Cup. So excited to hear you
red card, bad PKs. It's a whole thing.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. And let us know what you thought of that wild game against Cincinnati. We'll be talking about the Chivas game next time, but we'd be happy to read your thoughts on if you care about Leagues Cup or where you think this team is now as we head into the final 8 games of the MLS regular season. But make sure you leave us that 5-star rating and review if you have not yet done so. Make sure you check us out video, KCSN Soccer on YouTube. Follow us on what's it called now? X? Is it still Twitter? I don't know. Elon's blowing it up.
I got nothing.
It's on. We're also on X/Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky now, and Threads, all at No Other Pod. You can check us out on all those platforms. And yeah, shoot us an email at nootherpod@gmail.com.
That's what X means.
GX. But yeah, nootherpod@gmail.com if you want to email us. But until then, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
I'm going to need to see Pulse Camp versus McIntosh goalie war.